They say this is the place, it really is, because I think people needed it here, needed something like this. Kind of an alternative place. Anywhere where there's a dominant religion like that, you need something like this. A lot of kids tell me too that this isn't good, but they'd left school, and come to the heavy metal shop, so it was the place to go. My name's Kevin Kirk, and we're at the Heavy Metal Shop. I opened in 1987. I was 25 years old, started in Sandy. So 2 years in Sandy, then went to Sugar House for 12 years, and then down on Exchange Place for 22, and then where we're at now, a little over a year and a half. And when I first opened, it was CD shop, and I was selling all kinds of CDs. So I was getting a lot of people wanting jazz and new age and classical, which was music I didn't know anything about. So that's why I changed it, I thought. I know more about hard rock and heavy metal.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like the right thing to do. And then people would come in, I was listening to Slayer or whatever, and they wanted fresh air or whatever, So that's why I changed it. One of my customers from CD Shop, kind of a conservative guy, he was a graphic designer. And my logo then was, was just block letters, CD Shop, pretty simple. And he says, he asked me, if you ever want a logo, I design, I'm a graphic designer, really nice guy.
Yeah.
And so when I was changing over, I told him, and the payment that he took was CDs. So he took a bunch of the CDs I needed to get rid of. And that's how I paid him to draw the logo. And it's funny because the first thing he drew up was a half a record. It wasn't a skull.
Oh, really?
And it was written out the long way in half a record. And I said this to him. I said, that's like Randy's records, which is funny because I'm across the street. And I love Randy's. I said, yeah, I love that, but we're heavy metal. We need like a skull or blood or something. And he was real conservative. Are you sure? I'm like, yeah. So he came up with that. So it was kind of good that it was somebody that wasn't a metal guy, because that really sticks out. It's a really good logo. Yeah, Slayer's the one. I mean, they're the ones that wore our stuff all over. We all Slayer a lot, really. Yeah, that's Tom Araya. And then here he is with sweatpants on too. And he told me that day they were doing that. He forgot they were doing photos, and they came and picked him up. He said it was like laundry day. He had his hair up and he had the sweats on, so he didn't plan it.
So that was his fit.
Yeah. Testament, yeah, Chuck Billy. We did an in-store with them years ago. They were warming up for Iron Maiden that night. So we had Testament, Corrosion, and Conformity in the shop. So it's pretty exciting, yeah. I love those in-stores. We did a couple with Slayer that were just epic, as you would picture it, We did one at night, and it was in the winter, and people had lit bonfires on the sidewalk and slaying all night long. And the manager was going to shut it off about midnight. And Tom Araya, the singer in Slayer, he's like, no, we'll wait until there's no people. So I think people were coming back too, because it was so cool. Yeah, had to talk to the police a couple of times that night with the fires. I was like, guys can't be starting fires on the sidewalk. I can't talk about some of the stuff though, with just kind of debauchery. And, I've seen a lot of that stuff, just being on tour buses and stuff. Just fun stuff. I remember selling their shirts, and mothers would come in with their kids for back to school shopping. And the kids, they'd always pick out like Jesus is or whatever, these shirts. And the mothers would look at me like it was my fault, I'm just like, and then they would be like, oh, you get a nice Heavy Metal Shop shirt, I've already got one of those, Mom. I want Cannibal Corpse, so yeah. I actually have a table where they would sit to sign. And they would draw, there's a lot of graffiti and drawings and stuff from the different bands. And Cannibal Corpse drew some stuff on there. Had Rob Halford in the store. Those guys drew stuff on there. Deftones. So just that table is pretty cool. I mean, if I could hang that up with all some of the stuff, not everybody could see though. Anyway, yeah. I don't know, you kind of make friends with your customers because we have the same passion for the same music. So I love that. When people, I love turning people onto music too.
Yeah.
And like I like a lot of different stuff that's not just metal. There's always this fringe, like these newer bands too that come along. But then there's all the old ones people still you know, we still sell tons of Iron Maiden. Led Zeppelin is one of the, you know, Black Sabbath too.
Yeah.
They sell probably better than ever, really. There's all these new generations, and like I've been in business long enough that I'm meeting grandkids and kids of my old customers from way back. So I've turned kids on that were just kind of just all heavy metal, because they started, you know, when you're young, it's like it's got to be heavy.
Yeah.
And so I've turned kids on to other stuff, which I love doing that. And I love they have the same, they're excited about music like I am,
Yeah.
and I still am.